This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, welcome everyone to your Moby Max training. Again, my name is Jasmine, aka Jazz, and I'm so excited to be able to host for you today. We are going to go over quite a bit of information, but don't worry, I'll stop periodically, ask if there's any questions, and we'll also have about 15 minutes at the end for just an open question and answer session. We can go over anything that we discuss at that time, or if you like to take the time then to ask questions more tailored specifically to your needs, we can use that time for that as well. So when you are on the mobymax.com website, you will see that the sign-in option is here in the top right-hand corner. However, as mentioned, you all will be getting set up through Clever, so you'll have that automatic sign-on to dive right into Clever and get signed into MobyMax. However, if you were on our website, you can simply also come in this way if you ever had to. But you should be all set with Clever and not have to do that. So again, we are working closely to get you guys up and running through Clever as soon as possible. But once you're signed on, you will see your Moby Central page, which will show you your top 4 dashboards in Moby Max. I call this like our dinner plate because it has the 4 main courses that you need in order to essentially get your students where they need to be and fix those learning gaps. And so the main course here is going to be our Moby Learning Dashboard, which is like our fried chicken on our dinner plate. That's where everything is located as far as the subjects, some extra motivational tools for your students, and also some great resources for you to have some guidance through MobyMax. Next door, you'll see you have your Moby assessments. This is like our vegetables on our dinner plate. A lot of our babies aren't too fond of their veggies, so similarly within the assessments, they may not like a lot of tests and assessments, but again, you'll find this to be a great asset to your students because you can quickly dive in, for example, and assign your state checkers here, which is awesome because within those state checkers, you're able to assign skills, individual skills that you want to select for your students to work on at that time. And so they're giving 3 questions on that particular skill. And if they miss just one of those 3 questions, the test will automatically stop. They'll be marked as failed. And then you can quickly go in and remediate those skills for them. So you can use that pretty frequently throughout the school year. The benchmarker is going to be a more comprehensive assessment that's normally given at the beginning of the year and then at the end of the year because it's going to measure your students' performance across the entire grade level that you select so you can quickly dive in and monitor their progress to master those individual standards. You can also quickly go in and review your students' placement test results, and we're going to dive in deeper on how that works momentarily once we dive into our math subject. Last but not least, here you have your fluency test. Great opportunity to assign these to your students frequently as well in order to help develop their math facts pretty quick and easy. Across the way, you'll notice on our dinner plate is our Moby Interactive, which is also fun for the students. I would say it's like refreshing for them. So that can be like our fresh fruit on our dinner plate. And basically, it's just a great opportunity in order for you to work together with your students as you come in and create lessons. You're either pulling from the Moby curriculum under your whiteboard activities, or you are able to pull from pre-existing lessons that may have already been created within your school or your district or even the entire state. And then you would basically create those lessons and then you'll be able to click on those and then it'll open a new tab. So you're basically walking through the process like we are today and working with your entire class as it's projected on your screen through Moby Max. You'll also notice you have your skills review here as well, similar to whiteboard activities. However, your students can independently click on their skills review button on their library tab and dive into working on problems that you selected at that time that you would like them to work on. So, great opportunity for you to have more control over what you want your students to work on. Maybe because of a shorter period of time of the day, you want to go ahead, create these sessions prior to them attending class, and then they can quickly complete those so you can assess which students may be struggling on certain areas and which ones may be more advanced on certain material. You also have worksheets that you can print. Maybe you want to use those for small group settings, or perhaps you can also take advantage of using those for sending home for homework assignments or students who don't have access to the internet at home. That's also another opportunity that you can use worksheets for. You have your fluency team games and board games, which is also an opportunity to help build your students' fluency skills. And Moby randomizes them into teams within the games here, and then the team games, and then the board games. They're able to select what skill they would like to work on at that time that you have assigned to them. Last but not least, the most rejuvenating and exciting part of Moby Max is the Moby Real Rewards. Can anyone guess and throw out what that possibly would be on our so-called dinner plate? Yes, that is correct. That is going to be our dessert. I'm thinking maybe a fresh, made from scratch apple pie that just came out of the oven with maybe a side of vanilla bean ice cream. I don't know about you, but that made my mouth water. And that is how amazing the Moby Real Rewards are. Again, we send out free prizes to you as these contests become underway, and you have the opportunity in order to allow your students to dive right in and have lots of fun with these contests, and then they can be one of the top 3 winning classes in the school in order to get those prizes sent out, that we send out to you and to your students as well. And so we have 4 throughout the school year. If you use the drop down here, you'll notice the other 3. The Get Crack and Fall is underway now. But the next one will be the Massively Monstrous Party, where you can set up whatever kind of party you would like to have for your students, because we send you a code that you redeem for a gift card. So some people have themes like pizza parties or Moby parties and Moby math parties and things like that. So definitely a great opportunity to get them more, excited and more engagement within Moby Max. So without further ado, we're going to dive into our Moby learning page. But I do want to pause for a minute here. And just to
This
you.
conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so you'll notice on your teacher dashboard or your Moby learning page here, right under the teacher administration, you have your curriculum settings and your roster. Within the curriculum settings, you can quickly just make adjustments for your entire class. For example, you can make general adjustments such as, disabling the read aloud sound that is set for you at default for your student. You can also use this drop down and select any subject of choice and make quick adjustments as well. Next door, you have your modules tab where you can disable any of these notifications that you will be alerted about at default. Scrolling down, you have default assigned time. Maybe if you would like to help your students manage their time effectively as they start working in a subject, and you can just select, for example, 10 minutes here, and then you want to save any changes you make on this page. And then that time would be hovered over that student's subject, so that way they are aware that you expect them to work a minimum of 10 minutes. Keep in mind whether they meet that time frame or not, it doesn't stop their flow of working in any subject. Last but not least, you have your Hi for My Students tab. Can anyone suggest or guess how this feature may be beneficial within your classroom, hiding any subjects and modules? Well, what some teachers have suggested is maybe they want to, keep their students focused into only the subjects they'll be working with them in that day. So, for example, you can hide the phonics modules, maybe because our upper grade students sometimes they can be a little crafty and they can learn to fly through those younger modules and boost up that game time. And so, again, you can hide those from them if you like, and that way their focus is only into the subjects you want to allow them to work in. And once you check that box and select OK here, it will be grayed out from the students so that they cannot access them. Some have also mentioned that they'll hide games and maybe only make the games available on Friday free time. You also have your student settings tab where it's similar to the default settings. However, you have the option here to select individual students only that you would like to update curriculum settings for at that time. So going back to our teacher dashboard, next to the curriculum settings, you'll also notice that you have your roster, where you can quickly go in and see a list of all your students registered. However, there's some key features here I wanted to mention to you. You have an option here to create groups. Maybe for intervention, RTI groups, or if you just want to, drive instruction tailored to a smaller group of students, you can select create new group and then name that group, and then it'll be listed here on the left. And then you're simply just selecting your students of choice here on the right that you want to add to that group you just created. Once you select save in the bottom right hand corner, you have the option here to sort and filter here. Even if you're in a subject at the time, you'll also have the option to select sort and filter and then choose that group you just created. So that way you're only viewing those students at that time to work with. So you can quickly remediate skills, drill down and monitor their progress, and then quickly run reports for them as well. Another feature within your roster is you can also share students to other teachers, maybe coaches or special education teachers and so on need access to students that are listed on your roster. So you can simply come here on the left hand side and select your students and then choose the teacher or teachers on the right you would like to share the students with. You can also print parent letters and login cards. These are great, just a way to let the parents know you're going to start implementing using Moby Max in the classroom. And then they'll also be able to know how to sign on to their parent portal in order to view their students' progress in Moby Max as well. So next, I would like to take the time to sign on as a student, so that way we can see how it looks on their end. So we'll sign into this test account that I created, and then you'll notice that they're welcomed and to have fun in Moby Max. And then they're brought to their library tab, which allows them to see all the subjects that are available to them. And basically, you're just instructing your students into what subject you would like them to get started in that day. For example, it's recommended to use math and language first, just so you can go ahead and get them started with that placement test that is adaptive. They start on a kindergarten level, which allows you to have a strong foundation in order to see where those missing skills really are for your students. If they're scoring well as they're working on that placement test, they'll move on to more difficult material. But if they score less than 60% to meet a particular skill they're working on, the test will automatically stop. Moby will identify your students' missing skills and then assign the appropriate lessons to them for you. So no extra work the teacher has to do. Moby automatically completes that process for you, and then you're able to just dive right on in and view their results. That I'll show you how to see that momentarily. So for example, if your student clicks on the math subject, they will be redirected in order to get started on their placement test. And then as they're working through that placement test, again, it will automatically stop for them. And then they'll start working on those appropriate lessons. So they'll click their green arrow. They're being instructed of what's going to take place and for them to do their best so they can get their actual grade level. And also, this is reading aloud for your students the problem, and then they can go ahead and select or input the answer there. And I'm just going to work through it pretty quickly here so that way you can see how it looks for them once it has been completed. So they're told they're done, and then they click on their green arrow, and then bam, they're automatically being directed to those lessons where those missing skills begin so that they can try to master these individual skills. Okay. So going back, you'll also notice they have their assignments tab here, where if you assign any lessons or tests to your students, you have the option for them to be placed right here. So that way they're in one centralized location for them to go and quickly complete those lessons or tests for you. They have their motivational tab. They also get notifications in the top right hand corner alerting them. So that way they can quickly dive in and have a great time for all the hard work that they're putting into MobyMax. They have their messenger board where basically you can post any announcements and tasks. And then you also can message the student, they can message you back. Good news is they can't message peer to peer. But maybe if you don't want a lot of hellos, how are you doing today? You can also go under your Hide for My Students tab in the curriculum settings and hide this module. Last but not least, they have their Moby friend. They can choose their favorite color, select the add button, and then they can build their buddy. So as they're working through Moby Max, they have their cool dude that pops up and is their friend to keep them motivated and excited working through Moby Max. Okay. So going back to our teacher dashboard, next we're going to dive into math so we can see how that data is implemented within Moby Max. However, do we have any questions thus far?
I had a question about the hide. If each teacher can hide different things, correct, through the curriculum settings?
Yes.
And
Yes,
how
ma'am.
logs in, how does it determine what teacher to look at? Because the student has 4 or 5 teachers.
Right. So what happens is it's gonna be hidden for them, any ones that are hidden from either teacher. So that is something to keep in mind when like you hide if you're the language teacher and you hide math and science and social studies, for example, the student will not be able to access it once they are working with those teachers. So you do want to make sure you unhide it prior to them, attending their other teachers' classes so they can have access to it.
So you really need to set the curriculum setting at the beginning of your class and then turn it back off if you want to hide. Because it's an all or nothing thing. So their math teacher can't hide their reading, or the student won't have reading when they log in. correct?
You got it. Yes, ma'am.
How about the assignments? Will they get the assignments from all their teachers on the assignments day? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Of course. Okay.
Question, are the language arts questions structured after OST? Are they that type of question? Or
OST is the Ohio State tests.
Is the curriculum aligned with your state standard?
Yeah.
Is that the question?
Yes. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Can
Which
you
is
show-
actually a recent update, so that's pretty cool.
Can we see a couple language arts questions for like 7th grade or 8th grade?
Sure.
Okay.
On a student side, or do you want to see the lessons within on a student side?
Please.
Okay, sure. Give me a couple of seconds. Get back to my buddy here. All right. So we'll click on language. And again, it works just the same as math with the placement test. So they'll be redirected to get started with the placement test. And keep in mind, as mentioned previously, it will start your students off on that kindergarten level.
Is there a way to bypass to like 7th grade?
She has to do this first.
Oh, you have to do that on your end?
Yeah, the kids have to take.
Oh, I'm sorry that I felt you're right. You wanted to see. Okay, so what I would have to do, I'm sorry about that. Forgive me. Let me go.
They don't have to take the place by us. Oh, okay. And why does?
I would have to go and register a student real quick at 7th grade and then adjust the grade level. Hold on one second for me. It's not gonna take long. Let's see here. You know what? The quickest way to show you, because again, remember they started at kindergarten level, so that's why it was taking, us through kindergarten. But the quickest way would go in, this is another way you can do it as well, is to go into your library tab and then select the grade level, choice. And then it's going to show you all the lessons. You can either filter by standard if you like, or search by keyword. And then if we expand the lesson, we can see the lesson topic and click on it. And then it shows you the problems the student will have to complete. Okay. Is there a specific lesson you kind of wanted to take a peek at?
What do you call it, theme or central idea?
Is there a topic here that you see you wanted to dive further into to view?
She said theme or central idea.
Okay, thank you. Theme or central idea. Let's see. Let's type in theme. I hope I spelled that right. Doesn't want to come up. Let's see. Central. Maybe. Okay, let's see. Idea. Okay, idea. And then it says varying sentence types. Use clauses to show precise relationships between ideas. So here's one of the problems here.
Would it be in the literacy, not language? ELA is not my.
Let's see. Let me go back to the main page, and you can also search for lessons here, which is pretty cool because it goes through all subjects to be able to find the specific lesson you're looking for. So let's type theme and see what comes up. Okay, so identify theme and stories and drama and poems. Let's do grade 7. Make sure that's breaking it down for us. Themes, reading skills, literature. So distinguish between theme and main idea. Does that sound about right?
Is that okay?
Yep.
Let's go for it.
All right.
Cool. So this would be one of the problems that they would work on here. Okay. And it's not going to show them, of course, the correct answer is. That's just so that you can see it on your end. Okay. And they have another version of this question. If they didn't get that right, then they have another version as well. And then you can navigate to the right here in order to view all the problems the student would be able to complete. Okay. Does that answer your question?
Does that answer your question?
Thank you.
Yes.
My pleasure. Any additional questions? Okay. So if we go back to the Moby Learning Dashboard and we dive into math, as mentioned, your students start with that placement test. So once it's complete, you'll be able to come and click on your placement tab in order to see your students' final grade level results. So if we click on our students' grade level here, it allows us to see their final scores broken down by grade. And we can expand a grade level in order to go further to see what those domain scores are. And we can go even further to see where they started to struggle, to master those individual standards there. We can also click on the standard in order to see the full description and then see what lessons and lesson topics they would have had to master there in order to meet that standard. You can also print this information in the top right-hand corner and maybe use it for meetings. Under your lessons tab here, this is where you can go and choose the assign tab, and then you can assign lessons to a group you created, individual students, or even just the entire class. And once you make your selection, you'll then choose the grade level of choice you would like to dive into. And then you'll be able to see all the lessons associated with that grade. You can also filter to show the standards or even, search by keyword here. And as we saw previously, expanding a lesson and then clicking on a lesson topic from here also allows you to see those problems the student will have to complete. Once you make your selection, then you'll choose the Assign tab here. And then you'll see how you want it placed within your student sequence of lessons that have already been automatically assigned to them from that placement test. And then option 2 is for it to be placed on the student's assignments tab that we discussed previously. And you also have the option to select a due date if you like as well. Under the class view tab, this is where you can go and see all the lessons that have been assigned to the entire class. You can also come in the bottom left hand corner here and filter to only view the teacher assigned lesson. You can click on a lesson's title, see your students' individual results, and then you can also click on their name to see specifically what they scored on those lesson topics. Clicking on a score allows you to see the problems they were given and also what answers they gave. On the progress tab, this is where you can monitor your students' progress individually. By clicking on their name, you'll be brought to their summary page, which is also going to break it down as far as their progress. And then you'll also see a yearly continual progress graph that will populate once the student shows a 0.1 grade level increase. You have your progress reports tab that also breaks it down all the way to the standard, if you like, to show you their individual scores. You can also print this information and maybe send it home to the parents for their progress report in Moby Max, or also use it for meetings as well. Your history tab is going to show you an instant snapshot of your students' proficiency scores over time. Great news is this is updated every Sunday for you. So as your students work throughout the week and complete any tests, you can come right here and see this information updated. You also have a class view tab here, where you can see your students' progress as a whole. You can break it all the way down to the standard to see their final scores. And you can also click on these scores in order to see a list of your students and what their final results were. On your snapshot page, you're basically going to be able to see currently where your students are working. You can also click on a student's name, and then it's going to take you to their individual dashboard, which is basically giving you their overall statistics, grade level progress, and then there's also some graphs available to you as well. You can print this information, use it for parent-teacher conferences or other meetings. Although we covered quite a bit of information here in math, I do want to mention that everything we discussed is located here in the top right-hand corner under the question mark. No matter what tab you're working under, you can select the page help option, and it's going to give you a full description about that recent tab you're working under. And then also it's going to offer you some screenshots in order to help you navigate. Going back to your teacher dashboard, at the bottom, you'll notice that we have a videos button, which gives you the opportunity to watch some professional development videos for the subjects and other features in Moby Max. That way you can get more comfortable about how they work and see how you want to best implement using them within your class now. Next to the videos, we also have weekly webinars that are hosted for free every Tuesday and Thursday. So you can simply click on webinars and then click this link here to join by internet or phone. Some additional support available in the top right hand corner of your Moby learning page. You have your FAQ, which is of course our frequently asked questions help center. You can search by keyword in this box. You can call or email us. Our support team is fabulous. They're available Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. If you're not able to call, maybe because it's during the day and you're working with your students, you can easily chat with our support team as well. And this would be a live agent assisting you. You have even more videos here, over 50, getting started, testimonial videos, and also diving into those individual subjects and other features in Moby Max as well. Last but not least, you can dive right into your individual dashboards and see categories for you, so that you can easily find individual questions that you need assistance on. Sometimes there's videos available to you as well, but there is always step-by-step instructions in order to guide you through Moby Max. So that is everything I wanted to cover in our training today. So I'm going to go ahead and stop our recording, and then we can rock and roll with our Q&A session.